What if I told you you didn't have to spend over $10,000 to get a 100-inch TV? Something that's been gaining a lot of momentum, especially recently, is laser TV projectors. But as someone who's had them on their radar for a while, I'm curious to see how a laser TV stacks up to a traditional setup. That's exactly what we're going to find out today with the Hisense L9H ultra short throw projector. Having used this for the past few months, I'll take you through the setup process, what I like, and some of the shortcomings that you can expect with this $5,000 setup. Right off the bat, I was shocked by how large the box it ships in is. It wasn't heavy, weighing around 50 pounds, so it was pretty easy for my fiance and my dad to carry this down the front porch to the basement where we were installing it. Opening it up, you first find the projector in its own smaller box with lots of padding on each side. Underneath is another box for the 100-inch projector screen and all of its installation hardware. Starting with the projector itself, when we open it up, we first find its instructions, gloves for handling the projector screen, and its power cord. This is a 4K UHD projector with 3000 lumens, Dolby Vision and Atmos, and HDR10. It runs Google TV, which includes all of your favorite apps, including HBO, Hulu, and native support for Netflix out of the box. No weird third-party installation required. Moving on to the larger box, this has several metal pieces and rods inside that, when put together, create the frame of the projector screen. And aside from the obvious of needing to have enough wall to actually install this on, there's a surprising amount of math and measuring also involved. All of this is to make sure that you have the precise amount of space between the bottom of the screen and the surface that you're placing the projector on. Altogether, this took up a very large chunk of our day, and that's with 3 people being involved. But we're gonna see if this extra effort was worth it in the end. Now, it's time to get surgical. We began by putting on the included white gloves, laid out this protective white sheet, and got to work. Things did look a little bit intimidating at first. Honestly, the included instructions could have been a little bit better, as some of the steps for connecting the pieces were confusing, and we ended up watching their online installation video a few times to make sure that we were doing everything right. Although you could get by with assembling the entire frame on your own, having the extra set of hands makes things way easier, especially when it comes to moving on to the next step of installing the actual screen. Here, it was a big help to have that extra set of hands before I began to unravel it to make sure everything was in place. We checked our math one more time and then began to drill and attach the mounting hardware, which connects the 2 rods, which provide height adjustment. I would say another big consideration if you're trying to decide if a laser TV projector is right for you is what it looks like when it's off. Especially against lighter colored walls, I found that the gray screen stuck out like a sore thumb. The black boarded frame doesn't really do it any favors either. A TV, on the other hand, while it would probably be a little bit thicker and stick out further from your wall, probably would be, I don't know, less of an eyesore in my opinion, just because it's one single color. Even though we finally have our screen installed on the wall, we're not quite done yet. We now need to go through the auto keystoning, which, if you're unfamiliar, is its way of determining where the frame borders are so that the projector adjusts the picture to look upright and straight. It requires the use of your smartphone to take a photo, which you then upload to this web-based app, and then it's supposed to analyze it and then do the adjustments that way. But no matter how many times I tried it, the results just never worked. And so I had to rely entirely on manual adjustments using the 4 screwed-on feet at the bottom to try and level the projector. Given that premium price tag of $5,000, this wasn't the seamless setup experience that I was expecting. Now, moving past that, after we downloaded and logged into all our streaming accounts, we were greeted with the very familiar home screen that was snappy and already had all our recommended content to watch. I started by watching James Bond: No Time to Die, and with all the lights turned off, you quickly forget that this is a projector. Out of the box, everything was bright and vibrant, and what was most surprising was how sharp everything looked on this massive screen. Having these action sequences fill up nearly an entire wall is incredible, and although its 40-watt Dolby Atmos speakers won't replace a dedicated sound system, for a built-in solution, it's quite good and better than most TVs. Even when we switched to the news, it felt more engaging when blown up to 100 inches. And with the lights turned off, I'd even go as far as to say that out of the box, it can be a little bit too bright, which again blew me away. Now, when you're watching these examples, don't mind the purple lines that you may see on screen. That's just how the camera interprets that footage. Trust me, it looks completely normal, no issues. So things look great and incredible with the lights turned off, but how do they look once we start to turn our lights back on and open the curtains to let in some natural light? Testing this with the ABC Murders, I noticed its advantage when watching it from more dramatic viewing angles off to the side of a room, and the consistency overall with its image, no matter where I was watching. I could see this making laser TVs like the Hisense L9H a really great choice if you have a big gathering and you have a lot of people in different parts of your house while watching, say, the big game for the Super Bowl. But as we continue to let in more sun and turn on more lights overhead, our image does begin to look a little bit more washed out now. And mind you, even though this was still a relatively cloudy day, it became quickly clear that this was an area that traditional TVs still have an advantage. And in all fairness, when you actually factor in the size of the projector itself and the stand or table that it's actually on, a TV would still have the advantage in terms of overall footprint. Moving on to gaming, this is definitely something I was really interested in testing out. Using its 4K 60Hz HDMI port, we started playing some Cyberpunk 2077. As much as I've already played this game in the past, both on my 49-inch ultra-wide and my 65-inch TV, it's a completely different experience when blown up to 100 inches. When you sit close enough, it really does fill your whole peripheral. It's incredible for story-driven games and some shooters, but I probably wouldn't use this for, say, a competitive FPS like Overwatch 2, because at that point, you're actually at a bit of a disadvantage having something this large, and at the same time, I would have actually preferred having higher FPS and a smaller monitor that was closer to me instead of that more immersive experience. Games like Alan Wake 2 are a perfect example of the kind of game that I think this projector is best for. Turn off the lights and it's instantly 100 times spookier to play. And although I didn't get the chance to try this out yet, again, for larger gatherings, I think this would be the perfect choice for party games like Mario Kart and Smash Bros. So, after using the Hisense L9H 4K laser TV for a few months, what do I think? Would I be willing and able to completely ditch a traditional TV setup in favor of this? When watching movies or playing certain games, especially with the lights off, I think the immersion and quality that you get at 100 inches, there's really nothing short of calling this exciting and amazing. That said, from this experience, I did learn that TVs still have the advantage in terms of ease of setup, as well as picture quality, especially when the lights are turned on. But laser TVs are an enticing choice for the size that they offer, as well as their lower price point. But there's a caveat here. In late 2023, this price advantage is quickly disappearing. Especially around the holidays, we've seen some really deep discounts, like the 98-inch TCL S5, which is 50% off and goes for $2,499. And even Hisense's own 100-inch U8K 4K TV is 50% off, bringing its price to $5,000, which matches the price of its laser TV counterpart that we're checking out. Funny enough though, when I first started this project about 2 months ago, the value proposition for the L9H and other laser TVs was largely in their favor. I wouldn't be surprised though if Hisense soon discounted the L9H to make it once again the cheaper choice compared to TVs. And if so, it would be an easy recommendation for those trying to get one of the largest, most immersive at-home entertainment experiences that you can get while still trying to be price conscious. But let us know your thoughts on the L9H and other similar laser TV options. Is it something you'd be willing to switch for your dedicated setup? If you like these videos, be sure to subscribe and follow us at Tom's Guide. You can also follow me for a more behind the scenes look into how I make these videos and some of the other cool tech that I'm reviewing. This has been Paul. Until the next one, I'll catch you later.